And we're off again with the cars from this week's GTA Online weekly update, and we're starting with this, the Schlagen GT. Based on the Mercedes AMG GT, this is a great car in GTA because it's one of the very few cars that comes with its own orchestra. Let's have a listen. So getting back to the car, there's a lot to like about this, but unfortunately one of the things not to like is whether you get this week is going to depend on luck, because this isn't an offer car, this is the podium vehicle. So you absolutely should be going to the casino every day to try and win this, and give me a minute to explain why. As I said, it's based on the Mercedes AMG GT, and it's another one that's an absolutely incredible replica. It looks almost identical to the real thing. You might have seen this thing before bombing around at the front of the F1 grid as a safety car, which it's been for a couple of years now, and there's just nothing about this that I don't like. This is a car I would recommend is actually worth picking up even at full price. So it sits in the sports category, but it kind of drives like a muscle car, very much like the real one in real life. It's got a huge powerful engine in the front, rear wheel drive, and these things are notoriously vicious to drive, but it is a little bit tamer in the game. Yes, it is a little bit tail happy, as you'd expect from a very powerful front engine rear drive car, so you have to be careful, otherwise you'll end up all over the place. But it doesn't do it in an uncontrollable way that means you're constantly crashing. It just feels surprisingly nicely balanced considering how it's laid out. Customization wise, there's, it's not brilliant, but it's okay. You can get a bit of a racer feel. As usual, I've gone for the slightly modded stock kind of look. I try to make the cars look quite realistic, but there's enough you can do with it to make it feel like your own. So before we get onto things like top speed and lap time, let's have a rundown of what else you can get this week. So this week you've got a really easy LS Car Meet Prize Ride challenge. You just have to win one race, just one. And as I've said many times, watch my video on how to win the drag races. You'll be able to pick that thing up easily. And I have been through and got it, and I expected to hate it, but do you know what? It's actually not bad. It's another car that sounds really good, so I'll probably be doing a lap in that. You've got the JB700W, which again, that's a car that's not much use, but it is pretty, so if you want pretty cars, that's a good one to pick up. The Brigham, with it being Halloween week, there are a couple of Halloween themed, should I say, cars on offer this week. One of them being the Brigham, which I'm going to be honest, I found that a massive disappointment, not because of the car, just because you can't make a good enough Ecto-1 replica for my liking. If they'd only let you put your crew emblem on the side, you could swap your crew emblem for the Ghostbusters one and you'd have an almost perfect replica of Ecto-1. But that's just me geeking out, so I'll shut up and move on to the Lurcher, which actually looks kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be rubbish when I pick one up, but I think you could do a really cool sort of hot rod style hearse with that thing. The Romeo hearse is on offer as well, or it's available, should I say. No, I'm not particularly inclined to pick that one up. You've also got the Cyclone, not the Cyclone 2, the original Cyclone, which is a nice pretty car, and it solves a lot of the problems you get with the Cyclone 2 in that it has much more predictable handling, but it is incredibly slow. The Rat Rod I think is cool as hell. It's relatively cheap, it's stupid, it's big, daft and loud and brilliant, and I love it. But it's not very good at anything. You've got the Sanctus, which isn't available to buy very often. That's a really cool looking bike if you like that sort of thing. I've got a review of that on the channel if you want to have a look. The Caracara is available this week, but also you can pick up the GB200, which doesn't come around very often. and I love that car for winter. And we're not all that far away from snow. The snow seems to be staying for a little bit longer these days, so it's worth having a couple of decent cars to use in the snow, and the GB200 is definitely one of them. We've got the S95 on offer, which is a strange offer, especially if you're on expanded and enhanced, because, well, it's free. So this is a car that the first time you do house time trial, you can pick this car up for free, and the first time you do house time trial, you get one HSW conversion for free. So you could have a HSW version of the S95 for nothing if you're on expanded and enhanced, and we know that's, well, we think that's coming to PC pretty soon. So whether it's worth delaying on that one for a little while, I'm not sure. It's up to you if you want to take the risk as to whether it'll be free for you guys on PC as well. I can't see why it wouldn't be, but please don't shoot me if it isn't. But it is a really good car. I've done a lap in that, it's stupendously quick. And by the way, I wouldn't actually recommend you spend your first free HSW upgrade on the S95 anyway. I would always throw that straight at the Hikuchu drag, because you'll be able to use it to make your money back on the time trials easily. And then last but by no means least, we've got a claimable car from the salvage yard, and that is the much mispronounced, now I don't know, I'm going to call it the Frankenstein. Is it the Frankenstein? I have no idea. I spent my first video, I did a video about this car, maybe it would have been last Halloween, so about a year ago, and I spent the whole video calling it the Frankenstrange before I realised there wasn't a second R. So anyway, back to this car. Should you buy it? Should you win it? Yes, you should absolutely try and win this thing. Absolutely. It's brilliant. It looks absolutely fabulous. It drives really, really well. As you'll see as we start to come over these bridges, it's putting in a solid lap time. It's been a fairly clean lap, but not perfect, and it's looking like it's going to put in a really decent lap time. So decent customization, looks good, drives well, handles well. There's nothing not to like about this thing. Normal price for this is 1.3 million. I'd say it's worth the 1.3 million. If you want to wait for it to come on offer, you're probably going to pick it up for about $1 million. But if you've got plenty of cash, I think this is just one that you go for. And here's the time that this one managed to do. And here's where it sits on the lap board. So thanks as always for watching. Thanks to everyone that's jumping into the comments for my recent videos. I hope you're all keeping well. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.